There are 1,606 standard editing cuts in Disney's beautiful musical Encanto. Believe me, I counted. And like most good editing, I didn't consciously notice most of them, but as someone paid to edit videos for the last decade, what I did notice was the skill, ingenuity, and sheer volume of the transitions used throughout. There are 130 transitions in Encanto. There is a lot to praise about this movie, from the stunning visuals and lighting, the graceful animation, the emotional story arcs, and of course, the fantastic musical numbers. But I wanted to zero in on these transitions and appreciate this small, often overlooked craft of filmmaking. Encanto flows from start to finish, with each scene blending seamlessly into the next. The pacing is tight with a 91-minute runtime, and squeezes in 8 musical numbers and 12 main characters. While watching it the first time, I was struck by the amount of creative transitions. But is it really above average? To be sure, I set about counting all the transitions in Encanto and Disney's other biggest musicals of the last decade, Frozen and Moana. I've defined transitions here as any time a storyboard artist would need to draw a new frame, but there was no standard cut in between. These could be whip pans, crossfades, wipes, crash zooms, spins, or any number of creative transitions. Thankfully, after 8 hours of counting and logging, it turned out my hunch was right. Frozen has a grand total of 58 transitions over a 91-minute runtime. Moana has a few more, with 81 transitions over a 95-minute runtime. So I can say with some confidence that Encanto does have a lot. But why use them at all? By far the most common transition, aside from the standard cut, is the dissolve, or crossfade, which actually predates the cut. Crossfades can take on a number of meanings, but have traditionally been used to show the passage of time or transport the viewer to a new location. Frozen has 25 crossfades for this purpose. Crossfades were hugely popular in the Hollywood studio era, accounting for as much as 8% of all transitions. They soon fell out of fashion, however, along with fades and wipes, as audiences became accustomed to the standard cut. From 1970 to 2005, crossfades made up around 1% of transitions in Hollywood movies, according to this study co-written by James E. Cutting. Talk about nominative determinism. A notable exception to this trend is the original Star Wars trilogy, which was famous, or infamous depending on who you ask, for its use of wipes to transport us around the galaxy. In the 90s, the advent of non-linear or digital editing technology gave editors a brand new toolbox to play with. Now they could apply, edit, and swap transitions at will, and the use of crossfades grew once again, but in more experimental forms. The language of cinema and video creation in general is always evolving. Similarly, while 2D animation has always had more room for experimentation with transitions than analog live action, the advent of fully computer-generated animation opened the floodgates for what could be achieved in a transition between 2 discrete shots. All of which brings us back to Encanto. In what is usually a screenwriting no-no, the film kicks off with a flashback within a flashback, but they're able to get away with it by using a combination of crossfades and sepia color grading to silently communicate with the audience that what we're seeing happened in the past and led the characters to their present-day circumstances. It is an efficient use of transitions to set up the movie. It then flashes onto the title screen and flashes out into the glint of Mirabel's glasses. 3 minutes into the film and we have an example of our next big reason for the transitions in Encanto, the aesthetic. Encanto is set in the mountains of Colombia, a region bursting with bright, saturated colours, from the painted houses to the eye-catching flora and blazing skies. Nights are lit by soft, warm lights, and of course the flame in Abuela's candle, the miracle itself. This miracle is visualized in fiery glows and magical embers, which float around in soft focus and provide perfect transition material. From fireworks and camera flashes, lighting is interwoven with transitions throughout the movie. Isabella's gift of spontaneous flower creation leads to all kinds of pretty transitions. But it goes deeper than that. Transitions are an important tool in the filmmaker's toolbox, unique to the medium. They stitch the film together, dictate pacing, and can even enhance the art direction, themes, and story. Doors, and what lies beyond them, are a powerful motif in Encanto, enabling the filmmakers to play with wipes, flashes, and various camera moves to show contrast and progression. The wipes as Mirabel climbs the stairs emphasize the struggle and immensity of her journey, and this crash zoom out to Dolores underpins her power of extreme hearing. With 12 characters to introduce, Encanto sometimes has to show and tell, and the transitions, alongside the music numbers, help to get that information across in an interesting way. Similarly, the crash zooms and whip pans of Louise's number, Surface Pressure, heighten the intensity and frenetic energy, placing the audience in her state of mind. This pacing works hand in hand with the rhythm and musicality of the film. Most of the transitions in Encanto are clustered in the music numbers, making the scenes more engaging. We almost twirl with Mirabel as she spins her dress or fills the frame with her hair. We feel the pressure Louisa feels through flashes and smoke, drowning under the weight of apple carts and donkeys. Her fist fills the frame, and as viewers we are no longer passively watching, we are drawn in. We're disoriented in the tornado of dominoes. We're involved. The shot composition, animation, and transitions all work together to sell the emotion of the music. It switches to crossfades and cloud wipes for the slow tempo bridge of the song, before ramping up again with more crash zooms for the final chorus. Cuts would have been perfectly fine for all of these moments, but the transitions elevate it. Having said all of this, it is also key to not use transitions as a crutch. In We Don't Talk About Bruno, the shots flow and twirl with the Madrigals, almost swaying with the beat as the setting blends and morphs into new locations. Transitions and cuts are used sparingly. Take this shot here. The filmmakers could have simply cut from Dolores to Isabella, but a flowing pan down with the trailer flowers works much better, drawing the viewer's eye. 3D animation allows camera moves that would be next to impossible in live action, and Encanto fully embraces this freedom. Filmmaking is an act of collaboration, often with thousands of talented artists and coordinators working together. When used wisely, transitions can help bring a sense of cohesion to a piece and weave disparate scenes together. They can portray a sense of speed or distance, movement and rhythm, show the passage of time, draw the audience into a character's frame of mind, or just look darn pretty. The opportunities are truly endless, and it's great to see huge animation studios like Disney take more creative risks to push transitions even further. Like everything else in art, how much you like the transitions in Encanto is a subjective question, but for me, they drew me into the life of the Madrigals, helped me feel the rhythm and flow of the songs, and increased my enjoyment of the film on an aesthetic level. As you can probably tell, I was moved by this film, and I see this video as a kind of gratitude journal. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I'm planning to make a ton of videos on this channel over the year, and would love to reach more people and share my passions with them.
Adios.